Hey guys, trying something new here. Made a YouTube channel. I'm not gonna make it perfect. I'm not gonna edit it. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll post it to YouTube. This is for the Corbin Warlock podcast, and I'm actually probably gonna change the name to the Corbin Report. See how that goes. I asked some people on social media, followers, some are friends or family, and we'll see what happens. So I'm just gonna go over the trades in case you weren't, paying attention or you don't know. There may be one point that I don't have everything, but we'll find out. I think I accidentally deleted it while typing. So to start off, we'll start off with the Cleveland Cavaliers, who received Caris LeVert in a 2022 second round pick via Miami. And really quick, if the video is a little grainy, yes, it's nighttime. And I'm actually in my car doing this, that way there's some light. And I'm in a place where I'm able to do it. Alright. The Pacers, they received Ricky Rubio, a 2022 first round pick, lottery protected, 2022 second round pick via Houston, and 2027 second round pick via Utah. And here are the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, not full roster also. So, there's Darius Garland and Rajon Rondo. And I guess you could actually say it is full roster, or somewhat. And then, for the main part, I'll just get out of the way right now. I've used Pro Basketball Reference and ESPN. When I mentioned depth chart, that is mainly ESPN's depth chart, how they listed them, the players at each position. And the Pro Basketball Reference I used to find out the player's true position, another position they play. So if they play multiple, they could be a shooting guard and play small forward and shooting guard, but they're small forward first, vice versa. And yeah, that's mainly what I did. Alright, so Darius Garland, Rajon Rondo, as I mentioned, point guard, according to Pro Basketball Reference. Garland and Rondo are the point guards. ESPN has LeVert as third point guard, and Brandon Goodwin as fourth. LeVert plays shooting guard and small forward. That's according to Pro Basketball Reference. However, with ESPN, he is a shooting guard. Shooting guards, LeVert and Dylan Windler. Dylan Windler is a small forward according to Pro Basketball Reference, yet they have him shooting guard for ESPN. Isaac Okoro is small forward and shooting guard. That's with Pro Basketball Reference, and ESPN has him as the shooting guard. Cedi Osman, small forward, Pro Basketball Reference. Get this, ESPN has Lauri Markkanen as a small forward, even though he is a power forward. The power forwards are Kevin Love, according to ESPN. He's a backup power forward. Evan Mobley, Lauri Markkanen, who, according to Pro Basketball Reference, is a power forward and center. Evan Mobley is the starting 4 forward for his power forward. This is according to ESPN and Pro Basketball Reference. Jared Allen is a center. That's according to ESPN. And Evan Mobley is the third string center behind Kevin Love on the depth chart. Other players not mentioned are Lamar Steffens, who's power forward, Dean Wade, power forward, Ed Davis, power forward and center. And that would be the Cavaliers. And I think right here, I just noticed for the next one, I have my notes a little mixed up. It's for the Pacers. At the end of this, I'll let you know my opinion, what I think the depth chart and roster should be with their current players. They do have some players injured as well. Pacers, And according to ESPN, they have Malcolm Brogdon at point guard, Tyrese Halliburton at shooting guard, Buddy Hield at small forward, O'Shea Brissett at power forward, and Goga at center. That's their starting lineup. According to Fox Sport, Rubio is with the Pacers. If you didn't know, he is out. Malcolm Brogdon is a point guard who was injured, and shooting guard. That's a Pro Basketball Reference. TJ McConnell, I think he's still with the team. I had to double check that. Tyrese Haliburton is backup point guard, can also play shooting guard. Buddy Hield is a shooting guard, can also play small forward according to ESPN. He is a small forward. Terry Taylor, shooting guard. However, interesting fact, in case you didn't know, he's been playing center. Forward Chris Dorday, I thought he was a point guard. He's a shooting guard according to Pro Basketball Reference. TJ Warren also injured or recovering. Small forward Lance Stevenson, shooting guard and small forward. That's Pro Basketball Reference. Power forward Jalen Smith, Isaiah Jackson, O'Shea Brissett. Brissett is a small forward. That's according to Pro Basketball Reference. Also, Jalen Smith is a power forward. Center is Goga. Tristan Thompson, power forward and center. Turner, who's injured, is center. Players not mentioned: Kiefer Sykes, point guard. Dwayne Washington Jr., point guard. Isaiah Jackson, actually, I did mention him. Power forward. And Sykes is the third string point guard, and Dwayne is the third string shooting guard. Taylor is fourth string shooting guard and small forward according to ESPN. And this is me, how I think the depth chart should be for the Pacers right now with injuries. At point guard, starting at the 1, you should have Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield at the 2, small forward Lance Stevenson, power forward you can either have O'Shea, Brissett, or Jalen Smith, and Goga at center. And in case you didn't know, the Pacers in a trade with Phoenix received Jalen Smith, and Phoenix received Torrey Craig. Here was a big news shocker. I don't know about the trade, or it was more where this prominent shooting guard, the team he went to, CJ McCollum, went to the Pelicans, in case you didn't know. Of course, I'm pretty sure we should all know he's a shooting guard. And it was a trade between the Blazers and the Pelicans. Larry Nance Jr., McCollum, and Tony Snell. Nance, power forward, Snell, shooting guard. And then, in return, Portland received Josh Hart, Satoransky, small forward and shooting guard, or point guard. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, shooting guard. Forgive me if I say his name wrong. Didi Louzada, small forward, shooting guard. 2022 first round pick, protected, and 2 future second round picks. Also, in case you did not know, 2 of those players got traded after that. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who was on Portland, it was a 3-team deal: Trailblazers, Jazz, and Spurs. Portland sent Walker to Jazz, and Satoransky to Spurs. Utah in return received Hernangomez, Juancho, said his name backwards. And the Spurs also got a 2027 second round pick. Portland, in return, got small forward Joe Ingles, or power forward, small forward Elijah Hughes and shooting guard, and a second round pick from Utah. Also, another interesting fact, in case you didn't know, this is from the Pacers and Kings trade. The Kings received Sabonis, power forward / center, Jeremy Lamb, shooting guard, small forward, Justin Holiday, shooting guard, small forward. Future second round pick, protected. And at the end, find out where Bagley went. Sabonis replaces Bagley. Jeremy Lamb replaces Hield. Holiday could be Barnes' backup. Additionally, the Pacers made a trade earlier, trading LeVert to the Cavaliers, in case you missed it. And then we'll find out more about the Pacers and Kings trade towards the end. There's a little small fact. Just throw it in there. Capped it. The Oklahoma City Thunder got KZ Okpala and sent future 2026 pick to Heat. All right, San Antonio Spurs. Yes, they did do something. They received Goran Dragic from the Raptors, 2022 first-round pick. The Raptors, in return, got Thaddeus Young, Drew Eubanks, and a 2022 second-round pick. According to NBA.com, Eubanks was waived by Toronto after the trade. And this is kind of new from when I wrote this. Dragic, as of February 21st, signed with the Brooklyn Nets. This is off topic. On the fly, kind of, not really. Dragic would be, in a sense, the fourth point guard because you have Irving, Patty Mills as the backup. In my opinion, Ben Simmons is a power forward, and Dragic. So Dragic would either be a third or fourth string point guard. It's kind of a little something just to share with you two. The Celtics sent Bobo and PJ Dozier to the Magic, along with cash considerations and a future second-round pick, and Boston received future second-round pick. Alright, the Spurs, talking about the Spurs again. We'll go back with the Celtics. We just talked about them. Spurs sent Derek White, who was a shooting guard and point guard, to Boston. Boston sent Romeo Langford, shooting guard, Josh Richardson, shooting guard and small forward, and a 2022. This is one I think I messed up by erase on accident. So ignore that. I think it's first round pick. I could be wrong though. Celtics got Daniel Theis, center. He was with Houston. Houston receives Dennis Schroeder, point guard or shooting guard. Enes Freedom, formerly known as Enes Kanter, Bruno Fernando. In my opinion, Houston now gets a real point guard since the one they had has not played. I didn't do research any further on it. John Wall. They do have Jalen Green as a shooting guard. Kevin Porter Jr., who's mainly a shooting guard. This is my own opinion. And he can't play point guard. Alright, here comes another big trade in case you did not know. This one was most recent. So if you kept listening, stay tuned. Because you were just curious, what happened. The Philadelphia 76ers received James Harden. Paul Millsap. Brooklyn Nets received Ben Simmons. As I mentioned, I feel he's a power forward. Seth Curry and Andre Drummond in 2022 first round pick unprotected and a 2027 first round pick protected. So now that's quite interesting. James Harden is now on the Sixers. Charlotte, this is just something small. Charlotte receives Montrezl Harrell, from the Wizards, who in turn receive Vernon Carey Jr. and Ish Smith. Now here's another interesting trade. Yes, the Wizards lost a center, and they do have some other centers. Dallas, yes, the Dallas Mavericks, they traded Porzingis and a 2022 second-round pick to the Wizards, and in return received Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans. And this is after the Wizards made a move to get some players from the Lakers when they got Kuzma, Harrell, and KCP, and sent Westbrook to the Lakers. And the Wizards were doing good in the beginning, and they had Beal, and I believe now he's injured. So I don't know if that had a factor to play with it, but I feel like they were doing fine. So Dallas roster, you have Luka and Spencer and Trey, of course. And like I mentioned, players have the positions they play. They can play small forward even though they're a shooting guard, etc. And then here's according to the ESPN depth chart. Point guard, this is actually according to Basketball Reference. Point guard and shooting guard, Luka Doncic. ESPN, he's only a point guard. Spencer Dinwiddie, according to the Pro Basketball Reference, point and shooting guard. With ESPN, he is the backup for both. Trey Burke is point guard. That's for Pro Basketball Reference. Jalen Brunson, point guard. But they have him as shooting guard. Or Dallas hasn't played shooting guard, forgive me. Frank Ntilikina, point guard. Dallas hasn't played point and shooting guard. According to ESPN depth chart, Sterling Brown, shooting guard and small forward, according to Pro Basketball Reference. Alright, then we have Reggie Bullock, Josh Green, both small forwards, and what I mean by that is they play small forward for the Mavericks. Bullock is a small forward and shooting guard. That's according to Pro Basketball Reference. Josh Green is shooting guard from Pro Basketball Reference. And according to ESPN depth chart, he plays small forward. Now to the 4 spot, as mentioned earlier, which is the power forward position. Each position has a number. Dorian Finney-Smith plays starting power forward. That's according to Pro Basketball Reference. And he's a small forward. Power forward first and small forward. According to ESPN, he plays both. Davis Bertans, power forward. At the center position, they have Dwight Powell, who plays center and power forward. That's according to Pro Basketball Reference. According to ESPN, he just plays the center position. Maxi Kleber, power forward, according to Pro Basketball Reference. According to ESPN, plays center and power forward. The Mavericks also have Marquese Chriss, power forward. According to ESPN, he plays center and power forward. And let's not forget Boban. I wasn't going to do this, but now I am. This is how I think the Dallas Mavericks roster should look like. Starting roster and maybe the backups, doing this on the fly. Yes, Luka is a point guard, according to my research. In my opinion, I feel like he should be a small forward just because of his height. So I could see him play the 3. I would have Dinwiddie at the 1. Actually, you know what? I take that back. Let's leave Luka and Dinwiddie where they're at. What I would switch would be Jalen Brunson. I'd have Brunson at the 1, Doncic at the 2, small forward. We could have Dorian Finney-Smith, power forward. We could have Bertans, and then Dwight Powell at the center, or Powell, forgive me. Then to back up Brunson, you'd have Burke. Then you could actually have Reggie Bullock or Ntilikina be the backup shooting guard. I think I actually forgot Dinwiddie. So actually, no, we'd have Dinwiddie as the backup point guard. Forgive me of that. Bullock as the shooting guard. Small forward, Josh Green or Sterling Brown. Power forward, we'd have Kleber. And then backup center, we could have Marquese Chriss or Boban. And then anyone I didn't mention, they would... forgive me of that. Would be in the rotation. Alright. Last but not least, there was a big trade, as in a 4-team trade. I did mention Bagley earlier, and he's a power forward and center. He was sent to the Detroit Pistons. LA Clippers received Semi Ojeleye, power forward, Rodney Hood, shooting guard and small forward, and draft rights, forgive me if I say his name wrong, Vanja Marinkovic. The Milwaukee Bucks received Serge Ibaka, And then I couldn't figure out his true position, I believe. Doesn't say. Second round pick from Kings, second round pick from Detroit, cash considerations from Clippers. The Kings receive Dante DiVincenzo, shooting guard shooting guard DiVincenzo, forgive me. Josh Jackson, small forward and shooting guard. Trey Lyles, power forward from Detroit Pistons, and draft considerations from the Pistons. Now, the Kings had a trade earlier where they got rid of Hield and got Sabonis. And some other players as well. That's just the main prominent names in that group right there. The positions here are mainly according to Pro Basketball Reference, and then relates to depth chart according to ESPN. And now to me, what I wrote down in my notes here is Kings roster would be interesting now after the trade deadline. That is the word I used, interesting. So what I think the roster depth chart should be, I don't have how it is right now, but I could actually look it up while I'm right here. So let me see if I can look it up. I'll let you know. Let's find out. We're talking about the Kings, right? So let's go here. Let's type in Kings depth chart, and then we'll find out. Oh, I probably should type in Kings and the letter D. Hold on. I'll be back. Bear with me if you're still here. Alright, so while we wait for it to load, let's go back to my notes. And now I'm thinking out loud, and I figured I'd share this. I don't know why the Bucks got rid of Dante DiVincenzo. I do know, or at least I think he'd be starting. I feel like he's a good player. It's my own opinion. And then they traded him. I don't know why they traded him, but they did. Alright, it looks like it popped up. Let me load it one more time. I think, if I'm not mistaken, last time I checked, I think ESPN has Justin Holiday as the starting small forward and Harrison Barnes as the power forward and Sabonis as the center. But I'm just going to double check that just to let you guys know. And then after that, I'll tell you how what I think the roster should be, or maybe I might do that first because it's taking a while. So this is what I think the roster should be, or not the roster, excuse me, the depth chart. And then of course, if this doesn't pop up, you can always go to ESPN and see how they had the depth chart originally. I feel like it's going to pop up after I tell you what I think, and I wanted that to be last, but it's all good. So I feel like the starter should be De'Aaron Fox at point guard, Dante DiVincenzo at shooting guard, Harrison Barnes at small forward. He's a power forward and small forward. However, according to ESPN, he plays small forward as a starter. Holiday shooting guard and small forward. At the power forward position, Harkless. He plays small and power forward according to ESPN. Starts at power forward. Let me see if I read that wrong. Harkless, small forward, power forward according to ESPN. Starts at power forward. Metu, center and power forward according to ESPN. He is backup power forward. At the center position, we have Richaun Holmes. I think he was out. I don't know if he still is, and he might be back. And they have him at center and power forward. Sabonis, center and power forward. I know I was going with the starters and I just mentioned their positions, so if you get a little confused, let me re-explain it. Let me go back to the beginning. This is who I think the starters should be. De'Aaron Fox, Dante DiVincenzo. So it's point guard, shooting guard. Harrison Barnes at small forward, Harkless at power forward, and Holmes at center. And then for the backups, we would have Davian Mitchell as the backup point guard. Backup shooting guard, we'd have Jeremy Lamb. Justin Holiday would be the backup small forward. Metu, backup power forward, and Sabonis, backup center. Also, players not mentioned in the lineup or roster, or whatever you want to call it. Trey Lyles, Josh Jackson, Terrence Davis, Damian Jones, and Alex Len. Len is a center according to ESPN. Terrence Davis, shooting guard. Damian Jones, center. Josh Jackson, small forward and shooting guard. So that's how I see it. Or I could even see Lamb as a 2 and Dante as a backup. Forgot to mention that. So what I said is kind of right now, but what I wrote down originally was starters: Fox, DiVincenzo, Barnes, Sabonis, Holmes. So Sabonis is the power forward, Holmes is the center, as I mentioned, or even Lamb as a 2 and Dante as a backup. Then Mitchell as backup point guard, Josh Jackson. Oh no, not Mitchell backup point guard, sorry. Well, yeah, that, but also then Mitchell, Jackson, Lyles rotating in as one of them being a possible 6th man. I don't know if I meant Mitchell or Davis or them 3. I wrote this a while ago, a few days ago. So that's how I see that. So yeah, thanks for listening to the Corbin Warnock podcast. Or also, in the meantime, Corbin Report. Gonna see which one, sticks. So thanks for listening. If you'd like to comment, you can also listen on the Anchor app. You can either look up the Corbin Warnock podcast or the Corbin Report, and you can comment and let me know if you want to hear next or what you want to hear, or if you have any comments, and just let me know, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.